All right, welcome everyone. My name is Jackie Porter. I'm the group manager of product at Verify. And we're here to talk about a new concept that is called the United Leadership Model. As a level set, Anoop, the VP of product, wanted to trial a new method of aligning security, infra, and product quality, as well as design and engineering priorities without doing top-down OKRs. So we're trying this new united model at the stage level. In the agenda, I've linked this part of the handbook, which is the product process. And this method currently prescribes having a representative from across the organization, and it expands what we currently have at the product group from the quad perspective, and adds infrastructure and a security representative. But I don't think that really will work, Steve, because your team has a lot of priorities, and I don't think we'll be able to have like an embedded infrastructure person inside the Verify team like we would. So I wanted to host this kickoff call for the United Method and kind of think through what are some goals that we can tackle on with shared KRs, and iterate through what we wanted to accomplish in Q2, what we wanted our cadence to be on accomplishing these KRs, and think through DRIs across these functions and what are the best ways to really align across the stage. And then how we wanted to really work across this team. It is a new concept, given that typically we work within our groups top down in our OKRs, and then kind of request collaboration with these top down OKRs. So right now we'll be working with these shared KRs and feeding them into the existing work streams with this new united method. So I currently have some proposed shared KRs, and I'll drop a chat link here, and then I can also share my screen and we can walk through it. But before I move on, I would love to open up the floor for any questions or thoughts.
I guess maybe I'll comment. I was typing a note down below that just thanks for acknowledging kind of like the infrastructure situation. That being said, it is our intent that we do end up with basically counterparts aligned with each stage. We're just not there yet, and so we have one in reliability engineering. There's one manager. We're trying to get to a point where there's four, and so we can have alignment with those managers. They'll have to cover multiple stages, but not all of the stages. And then we also want to have individual SREs that are also counterparts, with stages, and even further down from that. But we'll start at the stage level. For now, though, I'll cover things because most of the other leadership is either in EMEA, and then in the case of Dave, our one manager, he's actually the IMOC right now, so he's busy.
Okay, so that's super helpful. So from an infra perspective, I'll go ahead and kind of tag you as the DRI, and I'll partner with you on the kind of tactical pieces in these shared KRs, and we can think through granular scope on what that means on how do we want to move forward these KRs then. Okay. Any other questions right now? Okay. So I'll go ahead and wanted to talk through some of the KRs that I have created, and everything is a work in progress here. These were created since we're already through May in part, and we're in Q2, I did cheat and kind of like look at what's already in progress for the OKRs for the current functions, so that we can be aligned with what other teams are working on and consider that in flow. So what I currently have from an alignment perspective, and feel free to question and push back and say, Jackie, seems like it's going to be a lot and it's not going to be an effective use of our time, or we should really be questioning how we want to align our stages priorities. But for example, with the new error budgets that we rolled out, I have the shared KR around achieving error budget. I have the KRs lined out here across runner, testing, pipeline authoring, and continuous integration. And we would, you, Steve, and the engineering manager, as well as the product management team, would need to think through how to make these goals smart and really nail down what we'd want to accomplish in Q2 around this availability target. I'm not quite sure if this would be, we need to prioritize infra dev issues or performance issues, or if it's a quantity of issue, or what that looks like. But I think that we can iterate in this shared KR issue. And I think that that's what this united framework is for us to work through, is to create that process for us to have the dialogue around creating goals across the infrastructure team, the product team, and the engineering team to prioritize these objectives and accomplish something like an availability target. Does that make sense? Okay.
I think for this one, I'll note also that we can probably more tightly align this with Rachel in the scalability team within infrastructure. So that'll be a little bit more direct alignment. So I'm not sure where I should just note that in a comment or in the description for this, where it would be helpful for that, because that way that one won't have to go through me. So.
That's perfect. And actually, I did have a comment back here, so I will drop a link to the comment in this agenda, and then you can respond back to that, and we can update the issue description to kind of either link back to the already existing KRs, and it's just I don't really know exactly how these will look from a reporting standpoint, because we don't report shared KRs very well today. So I need to kind of talk through with the Noop how he wants that to look, because I don't really want to take credit from like a group manager perspective, because I think that that's what he wants this to be, like he wants the GMP to be the leader of this initiative, but I don't want that to be the reporting function. I would love this to be like United Verify KR and have that roll up under each of the VP functions or whatever that reporting needs to look like. But we can iterate on that later.
Yeah, for what it's worth, as long as we get good stuff done, it doesn't matter to me personally who gets credit.
Yeah, it matters to me because optically it's a whole team effort, and I want everyone to get credit where credit's due, for sure. I know that might be like a silly thing, but okay. So other KRs that I've created, given that we've done a lot of effort around pipeline abuse in this past quarter around Verify, I've created this follow-up dog fooding support KR, where we have creating user flows and instrumentation around identifying what typical users are doing in our platform and instrumenting metrics around that. This is something that when I talked with Charles that he identified that would be really helpful, that he's kind of like an ambitious goal. We've had a lot of escalations so far in Verify, so we'll need to scope this further down. When it comes to thinking through all the different groups this impacts. I'm not sure if we also want to incorporate other security pieces into this. So Dominic, I would love to hear your thoughts on if there's other sorts of security dimensions that should go inside of dog fooding support for security. Would love to hear your thoughts here.
Sorry. The focus definitely needs to be around the pipeline abuse. So even if there are other, like the whole CI job token and the rights and everything, this could benefit to a bunch of people, and it's currently being worked on anyway. But I think CI abuse is where we lose a lot of money, is where there's PR impact. There's so much impact that I think it's all right to kind of zoom in on that for the moment, at least for a quarter. That's very reasonable. And yeah, just I can be the bridge to trust and safety at the moment. If I know a bit like IT, they don't have stable counterparts everywhere. They don't have a very big team, but since I am stable counterpart for Verified through AppSec, I can kind of be the bridge if you have a hard time reaching out to some people.
Yes, that actually would be amazing, because Charles and I have been going back and forth on who to delegate and appoint, and he came back and said that he'll need to talk to a couple people on how to navigate that, because he himself is spread pretty thin and then his team is kind of lean. So that actually would probably be
I can talk to Charles too.
Super helpful. So yeah, that's perfect. Thank you. The other, and if you all feel like it would be more useful to do this async, feel free to interrupt me. Okay. The other KR here is on usability issues. So meaningfully improve usability issues in Q2. And here the dimension is quality and design. So what we're targeting here is taking the S1, S2 bugs and targeting security, availability, performance bugs for some groups. And right now I have like the continuous integration target here is taking that backlog and reducing it by 30%. And I'm calling out continuous integration because I'm the PM of that right now, so I can set that target. But what I would expect is that pipeline authoring, testing, the runner group can iterate some more on these goals. Previously, we did a KR planning exercise. So I've pulled these goals from that KR planning exercise issue, and I dropped these goals here. So some of the other quality and usability KRs that the teams came up with were around creating a framework for testing, improving code coverage, introducing standardized frameworks for CI testing, and then both pipeline authoring and the testing team were focused on introducing usability fixes. And these efforts are tied to the UX team's push for SUS. So that supports a greater UX KR as well.
Jackie, I have a comment on this one. It's kind of related to what discussion that we have async on this issue. I just realized that also for CI, for continuous integration, we need to deliver 3 issues that will impact the SUS. So you mentioned just a few moments ago that you could also link back, right, this efforts to existing KRs. So just a heads up there that I think it would still be valid to add the ones that we discussed in this thread, but also the issues that are listed here in the agenda that track back to what continuous integration and testing will be doing as part of the UX OKRs to improve the SUS score. So those need to be delivered anyways. So just for the sake of yeah, creatability, I guess.
Yeah. Now we are getting pretty ruthless in our prioritization on CI. So when push comes to shove, OKRs are meant to help us attain ambitious goals and KPIs, but I think the trade-offs that we'll end up making in CI will be availability over usability. So I think for this particular target, CI will probably be prioritizing like security, availability, and infra dev issues that are S1, S2, and making sure that we're burning down that backlog versus delivering usability issues. Just because our backlog, right now we have like 65 S2s that are out of SLO in the CI backlog.
Understood correctly, as you're saying that you will prioritize the issues on the themes that you just mentioned instead of the usability issues on, then we need to align on who is going to be delivering that. And if it would be possible, for example, for let's say product designers to tackle themselves some of the issues that we have as part of the UX OKRs. So, but we can take that conversation offline.
Yeah, sounds good. Definitely drop it in here. Like we can iterate on it in this KR, because I definitely think it's a discussion we should be having. But if I'm making a trade-off, I would rather have a highly performant and available system for our users, but we can talk about it. Okay. And then the last KR that we have in this this epic, and we could definitely add more KRs too. This is just the 4 that I saw kind of as an opportunity to connect themes that were already existing across our organization. This is support high performing teams in Q2. So it's really about team health and product and engineering. And one of the United model kind of KPIs that we're supposed to be driving is narrow MR rate. So I have this goal of becoming a high performing team, and kind of the 5 bullet points, or 4 bullet points rather, is around building shared identity and making sure that we have a good focus on goals, and a good foundation on that is ensuring that we have strong async communication practices, but also ensuring that we are measuring the right things and delivering on the right output. So I have this, the measure here is 1 MR rate increase, because we are taking on a lot of initiatives around engineering allocations, around tech debt bugs. There's a lot of research, but Darby, you and I can kind of talk through what that means for our organization.
Yep, I think this is fine. We had a discussion on this issue, and I raised some points, but I don't think there's any reason not to align on this. We can be ambitious, and then I really like async training. I've put this on my OKRs too. I think it's something we could all practice.
Yay.
So I think that'll be good.
Good. Awesome. Okay.
For the async training, is the goal to have everyone within Verify go through, including the ICs, or we're looking at like the folks in the United leadership group right now?
Yeah, so the idea was everyone in the stage.
Cool.
But
yeah.
I think that's the way we're supposed to work. You know, it helps facilitate a good hygiene and common practice. But if you want to look at the issue and look at the training that I built, it's currently this issue and kind of lined out resources that are all along the handbook, and I have this deck on like issue hygiene, and you're free to push back and tell me it's ridiculous. I'm all ears on that. So yeah, not a big deal, but you can definitely we can de-scope it and pick a different percentage of completeness on that too. Okay.
I personally haven't gone through that whole list yet, but it doesn't seem like a huge time commitment. You know, it feels like it's like maybe an hour or so. And I think the benefits, you know, even for ICs would be good. When we did our async week, I got a lot of, like, I felt like the managers would feel a big impact from it, but the ICs also, a number of them commented in the retro and then to me privately too. I just said, thanks for doing this. Like, I got a lot more time to focus this week. So just taking some time to practice this, I think will give people more, they'll feel like they have a little bit more leverage to say, hey, I'm going to do this async, or, you know, we don't have to have a sync meeting about this, and just to get a little more focused time. So.
Okay. I like that. Thank you, Darby. Okay, so on some next steps from my perspective, I'll tag a couple of you in the specific KRs to help refine what those KRs actually are, so we can commit to them and kind of think through what it means for actionability and next steps. So that means, Steve, you and I, we can talk through the scalability piece of that and the error budget piece and that roll up, because it sounds like there might actually be some that exist. And then Dominic, you and I can talk about the trust and safety one and what that interaction will look like. As far as cadence for this group to meet, are you all comfortable with like once every 3 weeks connecting? Okay. And then is this time favorable? Okay. All right.
For me.
Okay, good deal. Thank you. Anything else? Any other questions or thoughts?
Thanks for putting this together.
Oh, you bet. If you have any other feedback that you didn't want to share with the group, feel free to DM me, share with me. I'm all ears. I do want this to be something that's helpful for you all. So I'm just happy to iterate and make this better. All right. Awesome. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Jackie.
Bye,
Thanks,
y'all.
Jackie.
You bet.